You ready to roll, D?
We're rolling.
We are officially. All right. Here we go. This is Mark Bondi and
DJ Dudley D.
recording another episode of Paisley Nights, chronicling the days of Wild. We are here to tell the stories about Paisley Park from the people that lived it, the people that were in the scenes, the people that were close to Prince, the people that saw what they saw. We're going to tell those stories. We're going to break them down. We're going to get into it. We're going to digest it. We're going to put them on wax, and we're going to share it with the people. Y'all ready?
I think they are.
You think they are? I hope they are. It should be fun. Tonight, we are going to be interviewing a guest who saw Prince a bunch of times, was in the Paisley scene for a long time, Bill Wensel. Bill, you ready?
I am ready.
All right.
Bill is ready.
Yeah.
Dudley D is ready. And we're just going to start this party off because this is about an opportunity. Prince, back in the day, you know, really all the way up through the time he died, he would open the doors of Paisley Park to average people. And we got to go out and we got to see him again and again and again. There were parties, there were performances, there were celebrities, and in the midst, there was just all kinds of stories, all kinds of stuff that we saw, and we want to talk about those. We want to tell those stories. We've heard from engineers, we've heard from musicians, we've heard from the celebrity community about how great Prince is. We want to talk to people that were close to him in kind of a different place, a subculture that was very, very unique. I think in the history of music, I don't think anybody did this kind of thing, right? Madonna ain't opening her place, is she?
No.
I don't. Does she have a place?
Does she have a place? Neverland. Did Michael Jackson open his place?
Not if you're over 12.
So, you know, Prince used to open the doors, and it was a scene, it was a place, and we want to tell those stories because average people like ourselves got to see the greatest musician of all time perform week in and week out, really. It was crazy times. So, Bill, it is good to have you on the show.
It's great to be here.
It is exciting. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to let this thing stretch out. We're going to let it breathe. But before we kind of get into all the Prince stuff, why don't you just kind of give us a sense of who you are, what you do.
Who is Bill?
Who is Bill?
Why is Bill here?
Bill? Why is Bill here? Here we go.
So Bill is still trying to figure that all out, but
Aren't we all?
Yep. So I've been in Minneapolis pretty much my whole life.
Are you from here?
I was born in Chicago. Parents moved up here when I was 1.
Okay.
So this is all I know.
We'll give you a pass.
Thanks. Appreciate that. And as far as the Prince aspect goes, I fell in hard back in '82 when I heard 1999 for the first time.
So you go back to 82.
82.
Wow. So how old were you in 1982?
I was 14. And I heard 1999 on my very first clock radio.
So what's it like hearing? So it's 1982.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like hearing Prince in Minneapolis? How do you tie that to kind of like the geography? Because this is our boy, right? This is our guy,
Yeah.
and he's rocking. You're hearing him on your
Yeah.
clock radio.
In the beginning, there wasn't he's a Minneapolis guy yet. I think that came quickly. It was just a holy crap, this song blows my mind. I've never heard anything like this before. And
Can I ask what else were you into at that point?
we had a lot of, it was like KS95 was on in our house, or the Beatles and Elvis and
What your parents were listening to?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And what wasn't bad at all. There's a lot of good music.
Doobie Brothers?
Nope, they didn't go that route.
Mine did.
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember I got that clock radio, which was, at the time, households had one stereo in the living room. That was it. And then I got a clock radio so I could have music in my own bedroom. And literally I went in, plugged it in, became a rebel, and put on the pop station WLOL. And
99.5.
Yep. Very first song that came on was 1999, and I bruised my jaw as it fell open, and you know.
So once you got into them, like,
Yeah.
did you go back to get old stuff?
I did. Yep. I had all of his previous releases before Purple Rain came out.
And what happened when Purple Rain hit?
There was a lot of different things with that. Absolutely in love with the When Doves Cry video. Seeing the movie 2-3 times the first night or two was out. Hearing so much backlash from so many non-Prince fans about, you know, he sucks. He didn't even play the guitar in this song. He wasn't this and everything. And that's, you know,
He's weird.
he's weird. You know, he's gay. He's, you know, so you're trying to figure out, this dude is like the best thing I've ever heard in my life, and you know, so you kind of closeted it in a little bit for a while.
So I mean, you're in 1982. You fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And did you ever like fall out of love? Was there ever a
No.
season where like Prince wasn't involved in your life?
Never.
Wow. So when was the first time you saw him live?
Purple Rain tour
Purple Rain tour. What?
Yeah.
Where?
at was it the Civic Center at the time? I think it was in St. Paul. I actually have my ticket stub out in the car right now.
Fantastic. Do you just,
Yes.
you just carry that around with you? Just
I didn't realize I had. I don't know. I was digging through something one day, and I'm like, why is that in my car? But
You should probably put that someplace a little
I
more,
yeah.
a little more secure. Frame it, maybe.
Yep. But going to that show, I wasn't a new kid in high school, but all my friends that I had in junior high went to a different high school, and so I was remaking friends in high school, and then the concert was right away my first year in high school that December. And so I went with someone who was a new friend. He ended up showing up late to his own house because his parents were driving us to the concert. So I missed all the opening acts.
no time.
No time.
No Sheila E.
No Sheila E.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but we got there in time for Prince. And then he wanted to leave before Purple Rain.
Stop being that guy's friend, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. That was done. So that was the first time. And the second time, I think it had to be, was it Love Sexy? He didn't have any tours for...
Yeah, he did the Love Sexy at the Met.
Yeah. Yeah, and I saw all those.
Now, did you see Prince around town? Like, would you like at
Back
that
then,
point?
no.
Okay.
No, not
back
back
then.
then.
When did you start seeing Prince around town?
Probably not till the 90s, the mid 90s.
Where would you see him?
Usually, well, obviously Glam Slam, saw him there a lot, but then I would see him other places around downtown. I would see him sometimes sneaking into the Target Center for Timberwolves games, and I never really saw him at any like clubs or restaurants or anything like that. It was just like Target Center or, yeah, that's about it.
So on the Glam Slam, like, were you a Glam Slam regular?
I was the first person in the door when they opened up.
For
Like,
real?
what do you mean? Like you stood out in line, like 9 o'clock, the club
So-
is open, and there's Bill ready to roll.
Yeah, two of my friends went and stood in line because I was at work. And I showed up, and there was line around the block and everything, and there was one dude in front of us. They opened the doors, and he went to the side to talk to one of the bodyguards. And so I was like, I'm walking in. They're playing Pop Life. I'm in Glam Slam #1.
Wow.
What was going on at Glam Slam at the time? What year is this? What year is Glam Slam
Oh,
open?
wow. Holy crap! I do not remember what year it opened up.
90s. I
It
mean,
was
was this
yeah.
was this like post?
So I'm gonna see.
Post Diamonds and Pearls. I feel like it's like Symbol album time. 92, 93.
Probably somewhere in '92 if I'm putting my timeline in my head together correctly. Yeah.
So when you're walking in there, you're
Yeah.
standing first in line. Why do you want to be first in line?
It just, like I said, it just worked out that way. My friends were there in line for how many hours they stood there, and as we walked in, it was just somehow, we were together, but I was just like a little bit ahead of them. And the one dude that was in front of us, he just didn't walk in right away. He walked over to the side to talk to someone else.
So you got in first.
Yeah.
And what are you in line for? Once
Hey, just so we know, 1989.
1989
Okay.
Slam opens.
Okay.
Yep.
Really, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
it's 1989. So 7 years you've been into Prince. What was
Yeah.
it like knowing that Prince had a club in Minneapolis? What did that mean? Like, was there a buzz around that? What was that all about?
There was a buzz around that as far as in my group of Prince friends I had at the time. And one of them is actually my roommate right now. But we were actually going to Glam Slam 3, 4, 5 nights a week.
Wow.
And what's happening at Glam Slam 3, 4, 5 nights a week? Like, why do you keep rolling through the doors and being number one bill walking through there?
In the beginning, it was really just a lot of dancing and a lot of DJs. There wasn't a lot of live stuff right away in the beginning. It was just dancing and meeting new people who were also Prince fans. And that was, like, the first experience with that where, you know, like I mentioned earlier, it was a lot of, you know, people didn't like him. They thought he was weird, all that negativity about him. And I get to go to a place now where everyone's like me. They're all Prince fans. They all enjoy what this man does.
And you said you had, like, Prince friends. Like, what's a
Yeah.
Prince friend?
Um,
Dustin and I are
right.
Prince friends, so
Yeah.
we know about the Prince
Yeah.
friend stuff.
So, like, David, he's been my main Prince friend, and, like, every album release since Cherry Moon, we would get together that first day and listen to it together. Like, up
Nice.
until probably maybe the last 8 years ago,
Okay.
you know,
So that's like a Prince friend. Like, the album's coming out. We
Yeah.
are going to get this album. We're going to
Yep,
drop the needle and...
and listen, and when cassettes were coming out then, so we'd be able to drive around town and listen to it, you know, however many times we wanted to drive around town and listen to it. And then he was also the one that we made connections where we could get unreleased stuff.
What?
Yeah.
What kind of unreleased stuff? How did you get unreleased stuff?
The dude that we got hooked up with first was Captain Bizarro. This dude was so weird. He called himself Paisley. Dude was just weird. But he got us.
Wait. You guys called him Captain Bizarro, or
Yeah, we called him
okay.
that. Yeah.
But he called himself Paisley.
He called himself
Okay,
Paisley.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. And we got the Black Album when that got all canceled and destroyed, and we got Love Sexy the 2 days, because it was a 3-week gap between that being Black Album canceled and Love Sexy came out. So we got Love Sexy early. And then after that, we kept getting, some of the albums early. We would get, the rehearsals. We got the 87 show at First Ave and, all that kind of stuff.
So you've been listening to all of that for like a
Yeah.
very long time.
Yeah.
You've been into it for a
Yeah.
minute. So let's get back to the Glam Slam story.
Mm-hmm.
So they're dance parties. Things are going on.
Yeah.
You're there 3, 4, 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
You're number one bill, walking through the door.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Bill,
Now-
he's making me feel
So-
young. I like this.
No, I like it too. See, we come on the scene a bit later
Yeah,
than you.
yeah.
So let me ask you this: like, when you're in there, like, how often is Prince showing up?
Saw him a couple times a week in the beginning, and
Really?
he was just hanging out. There was no performances or anything in the beginning, and
I would imagine too. Like, it's his club. It's his
Yeah.
new club that opened. Like, I'm gonna pop down. I'm gonna see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was always upstairs, what they called the members area at the time, and that was when I had my first interaction with him, where I was down dancing.
Now, had you seen him before this first interaction? This wasn't your first Prince spotting. This was your first interaction.
First interaction.
So tell me
Yeah.
about, before we get into the first
Right.
Prince interaction,
Yeah.
and I want to talk about the first Prince interaction.
Yeah.
Tell me about the first time you saw Prince.
It was at Target Center, walking in for a game. My brother also worked there, and then he worked at Target Center, and so I was able to come in through some of the back ways to get to our seats sometimes, and was coming in there, and I saw Prince walk. They snuck him around quick.
Yeah, and he was
Yeah.
moving fast.
Yeah.
And what did you think when you saw him? Were you ready for that? Because I mean, you'd been a fan, you'd liked his
Yep.
music. I mean, and you
Yep.
were like, and you weren't at this point like some like non-hardcore fan. You were getting bootlegs
Yeah.
from Paisley, aka Dr. Bizarro. So first time
Yep.
you see Prince,
It's one of those things where you see him, and at first you don't believe it.
Double take,
exactly. And then you realize it, and then it's one of those, like, time freezes, and and your heart's going rah, rah, and and you're like, did I just see that? Did I just see Prince walking by and going up to the
So what was he wearing? Do you remember what he was wearing?
I remember a black trench coat and white pants. I think he had the shoulder length hair at the time, if I remember right.
Nice.
That might be foggy.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you. The funny thing is, people always remember what he was wearing.
Yeah,
man. He was looking sharp.
Yes.
So you saw him there, and then did you see him again? Like once you were going to Glam Slam, he was there a couple times when you were there.
Yeah.
Like where was he in the? He was up in the. He was
upstairs. I never saw him downstairs.
And just like peering over, like watching the crowd.
Yep.
What was his?
Yeah, he would watch people dance. He would sit back in his chair sometimes where he couldn't see the dance floor. But then there's times where he was standing up along the glass railings that were up there, and he could watch.
And was he bringing new music? Was he bringing like Glam Slam? Like, I mean, we were talking about it the other night. Like Prince was always bringing like, I got the new track. I'm going to bring it to the club. We're going to turn it up a little louder than everything else that's playing.
And see how people react.
I think the first time with that I can remember that was when he had the remix for Get Off. And he had that separate album cover for that one. He brought that down to the DJ.
So how long is it from when you hear Get Off, Prince bring it into the club, and it getting released to the street?
Wow.
Is it weeks? Is it months? Is it like a year?
You know what? I think that I think he brought it to what's that record store over by where like 35W Construction is?
Electric Fetus?
Yeah. I think he brought some over there like in the next day or two, so those are available right away, if I remember right.
So you heard it, and then it was like you could actually go and buy it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to Glam Slam. We talked about seeing Prince. He's there, so you're getting a little more used to like him being like you're in the same space, right? But there's like being in the same space, and then there's like
him running into you.
So tell us about that first interaction.
The very first one was he was upstairs, I was down on the dance floor. We were doing our thing, and one of my friends hits me and points me up. And whatever move I was doing at the time, Prince was doing it up there.
So
he was copying my move.
I was gonna, or were you copying Prince's move?
No, he was. Maybe I was doing something that he had done in the past. I don't remember, but they pointed him out to me because he was doing what I was doing on the floor.
He was clowning you.
Yeah. That's happened.
Like, I mean, he wasn't taking that on tour as part of the thing. He wasn't incorporating that into the society. Oh, that's fantastic. So Prince saw you, recognized your dance skills, and was
and he did my move out of everyone on the dance floors.
So Prince is doing your dance moves up in the members area. I mean, what was your reaction to that? How did you feel?
Like a 12-year-old little schoolgirl.
It's so funny because like I've had those experiences where you're just like, damn, you are so much cooler than me.
Yeah. Yep. And then the time where he ran into me, that was the next time.
The time he ran into
you? He literally ran into me. Like,
so where are you?
This was, so after a while, because we were there so often, me and Dave and Stacy, we got like carte blanche. We didn't pay when we went in. We got to go up to the members room, and it was just
baller status.
Yeah. So we were like the Glam Slam celebrities, Started playing. The DJ let us in the booth, and we would pick out records for him to play, and
wow,
just running.
I mean, that's just amazing.
I had no idea about this.
This is all new information. So at some point, though, he starts doing shows, right?
Yeah.
And now you're at these shows,
yes,
I assume.
Absolutely.
Okay, so talk to us about like So he starts playing these shows. What is that like? Is he playing on the main stage? Is he playing in the upstairs?
There's both going on.
And what's happening?
Everything. You never knew what it was going to be, which is what we all experienced at Paisley. You never knew what you're going to get, and that was the same at Slam. You didn't know if it was going to be more of the nights there were more of his party music. You know, when he was playing, he was doing all the funky party stuff. There was some nights where it was a little slower, a little more laid back, but you know, and some of the more laid back ones were upstairs.
That's what I was just going to ask. It was most of the stuff was main stage, or was it back upstairs?
They did. It was about equal.
Back and forth.
Yeah.
And so you can just get into the upstairs, right? Like
we could.
You could. Well,
but
because
it wasn't for everyone though.
You're the first person into the Slam.
Yeah, I know. Yep.
Bill number 1.
Yep.
So I mean, some people did everybody in the place know that this was happening, or is it like you just got to be part of the inner circle, or close? Maybe not the inner circle,
right.
but like there's like a circle you got to cross the line.
Right. Back in the Slam days, it was you would show up and you would see the stage set up, and then you would be like, "Oh, we're not leaving the dance floor. We're staying right here the whole night," because you didn't know when it was going to start or what was going to happen.
So would he also do shows like people would be in the main area of the club, and then he'd be playing, like he'd start playing upstairs, and you guys would go upstairs, and obviously not everybody could get in there,
right.
so you had to...
Did people know they were missing something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. and
I've been there.
There was, I think there was 2 shows that were in the upstairs room that, for whatever reason, there was like, no, not tonight. Yeah. So I don't remember what was going on those nights, but yeah.
So how many shows do you think you saw at Glam Slam?
Probably 35 to 40.
Wow.
And who's the band? Is this is Sonny, Tommy, Michael,
Yep.
Maite?
Yep. Wait, she wasn't there right in the beginning, obviously, but there weren't performances right away when it first opened up. But yeah, those were the
that was
guys.
the crew. So
yeah.
tell me your favorite show from Glam Slam. What's like the best memory you have of Prince at Glam Slam? What show was that?
If you could go back, like to one show at Glam Slam.
One show.
The one that stands out in my mind the most, this is when it was the first time that he charged like $50 for a show, which we were all like tripping. Can we afford to go here? It was, that was at the time that was a lot of money to drop on a concert.
Yeah.
Even though it was, it was for Prince.
Today, priceless.
Yeah. Yep.
You got the ticket stub for that one?
No. We went to the first show, and there was back-to-back. It was like a Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday. I can't remember what it was. So we all went to the first show, and then after that was done, no one else was going to go to the second one. And that day I went and I bought my own ticket, so I went. And if you remember Slam, then there was the stage, the dance floor, then the DJ booth was right across from that, and then behind there was another like dining section where like tables were.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was back there, but I was standing up on that half wall.
Yep.
So I was straight back from the stage, but standing up there. And then that night he opened with Gold. And that was, they came out, they invited the news crews in, and so they were there for Gold. And he played that, and I'm just back there going,
And this is like way before
I'm in
it
heaven.
comes out, right?
Yeah. Well,
I bet you
it was right about the time he was going to drop that album.
Okay. But
So-
I mean, he had that. I mean, he was doing David Letterman. And David Letterman had Gold on it like
Yep.
a year and a half before.
Yeah, that's true.
Before
That
it
is
hit.
true.
I bet you it's 94.
Yeah.
'cause- Yeah, I bet it's
Yep.
early.
So, and then the
What,
rest
what,
of
what was it about that song and that whole deal that just like had you like?
there was so much build-up coming up for it, and it was we never got the bootlegs of that, so we hadn't heard it at all. So for me, it was all this build-up. This song that they're talking about, this is new Purple Rain. This is the
So
new
you
big
had
anthem.
you'd heard about the song.
I'd heard about the song.
But you never heard
Yeah.
it.
Where were you
Right.
hearing about the song from?
There was, I don't know remember exactly where they're putting them in, but there was like letters that a letter from Maite,
Yeah, I remember that.
written to Prince
Yeah.
about, you're going in the right direction, and this song is beautiful, and it's gonna change stuff, whatever. And so there was stuff like that, and I can't remember who else had those type of letters, but I remember Maite specifically. So the word about the song was out, just hadn't heard it, just didn't,
So you hear it for the first time and
yeah.
meet all the expectations.
Oh my God, I was beyond cloud nine. It was such a powerful moment hearing that after
I can
hearing all the
almost
build up.
feel that, like.
So
Yeah.
let me just to kind of ride that whole vibe,
Mm-hmm.
When do you feel that again? Like, I mean, like, because I mean that experience
Right.
happens to you. I mean, you
Not
see,
very often, yeah.
But
I mean,
when do you have that experience again where you're just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this just happened?
It's a very good question, and it did happen. Trying to dig through my brain. Yeah, we have to come back to that.
Yeah, we can
I'm-
come back
I'm
to it,
losing that
but
one,
it
so-
did
but it
happen,
did
right?
happen, yeah.
Because
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, because I look at the
Yeah.
shows that I saw, right? I mean, I saw Prince Neighborhood 160 times, and there's like a series of like, oh man, like you see him, and then like you see him.
Yeah.
Like
I think the other thing is too, like when you start to see him so many times, like during him rehearsing for a tour, you know what I mean? You kind of get the set list a little bit, or
Yeah.
kind of see with the direction he's going.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, when he just flips it and does something that just
You're not
catches
ready
you out,
for it,
yeah,
right?
you're just like, oh, yes.
Yeah, and it's like you break through, right, to
Yeah.
like a whole different level.
Yeah.
Because at that point, let me ask you this question: at the time you see him play Gold, and it's like this is the best, right? I mean, how many times did you see him at that point? Because you were all the way back to Purple Rain.
Yeah.
You saw the Love Sexy show.
Yep.
You've been hanging out at the Slam.
So
I mean,
at that point, it might have been around 15. So it was still really new in the whole lab experience.
And then you're just like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
we're taking this to like the next level.
Yeah.
So when you're at the Slam, like they do a lot of videos there. Were you there for any of the video shoots?
I didn't see any video shoots at the Slam. No.
Okay. Were you there for like the Exodus stuff then?
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because the Exodus
I'm
stuff
so
is
jealous.
because all I want is more Exodus stuff. And if you don't know about the Exodus and you are listening to this podcast, you better ask somebody.
You
Go
are
get
missing
that album.
out.
I'm serious, because people don't know about the
Right.
Exodus album.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's my favorite album.
Oh, we should just keep talking about it just so people know how awesome the Exodus album is.
Yeah.
We should talk about it. It's so good.
We should just take a break and listen to it.
yeah. Just hit pause.
Mashed Potato Girl.
Mashed Potato Girl. Oh man, it is so good. Get freaky, let your head bob. The Good Life, y'all. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Google that. So
Motherfucker, I count the days.
You know what's funny? I was when I was doing the Super Bowl stuff. I was looking through, and I actually found a clean version of that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
they
was
got a
like,
radio edit of that.
I
Yep.
didn't know that. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
I
you
was
got to
like-
you got to play.
I was
the,
like,
it
I'm
count
gonna
the
play
days,
this for
man. I
sure.
mean, Sonny T on the vocals. I mean,
The first three lines of that song always just cracked me up.
what are they? Here's a church. Is that
Yeah,
is that how
yeah,
it's
yeah.
done?
Here's a church. Here's a steeple. Here's a motherfucker I want to blow away.
Here's my chance to hear the yells of the people.
Yep.
That's why I gotta make this mother effer pay.
Mm-hmm.
Mother effer I. I mean, that album is so good.
Yeah.
So you're down. Just total aside there, by the way. Just an Exodus prop up right there. It's just an Exodus commercial. It's fantastic. So you're at the Glam Slam during the Exodus days, because I mean,
Yes.
he was playing. I mean, he released it in Europe in '94, but I mean, he was doing a lot of songs from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
No,
Those-
he released in Europe in '95. It would have been '95, spring of '95. Anyway, go ahead.
yeah, those were just. It was just like a wild party scene.
What do you mean
On-
a wild party scene? Prince, wild party scene? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Tell us about this. We want to scratch this.
You would go there wanting to have enough room to dance because you knew what was going to happen and you knew you wanted to dance and there was like not much of a chance to dance because you're like shoulder to shoulder with people who were also trying to dance. So you were still enjoying the moment. You're still trying to move around, but instead of really getting into your groove, you were like, I'm listening, I'm
Yeah.
watching, I'm enjoying, I'm feeling this. You know, and it was just mayhem of bodies and banging into each other, and you know.
And I mean, Prince is not cool at this point, right? I mean,
No.
he's not even Prince at this point. Like,
He's name changed.
His name changed. I mean, he's kind of seen as weird. So what? Yeah, Bill just pointed at the symbol on Dustin's laptop. So his name changed. Like, what is it like, kind of being a Prince fan at this stage in Prince's career?
Inside the circle of your Prince fans, it didn't matter. Everything was still cool, but
everybody
things
else,
got-
you probably like. You
had a lot of explaining to do.
You got to what's
Lot
going on?
explaining. So what do you mean? Like, they just didn't understand?
Right. Yeah, it was
Like,
it was
why
crazy.
why would you be doing this?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And it's so weird, you know. I look at it kind of post Prince's death, right? And just like how much love and adoration and just like respect that the guy got, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just like amazing, greatest musician. Everybody, Barack
Yeah.
Obama's like, "Pff, Prince. He was the man, right?
Yeah.
But there was a season where that guy was not cool, and you were like literally as hardcore a fan as you could
Yeah.
possibly be.
Yeah.
In a season when he was not cool.
Yep.
Did him not being cool, like why did you like stick with the guy? Why didn't you just like bail on him?
For me, none of that stuff really mattered. It was the music. It was always the music, and you couldn't get that anywhere else. You know,
Why not?
there's other musicians who could make some funky ass tunes. That they're there, but that's what they make. And there's some musicians who, rock and roll and bang all that. There's some that are, their piano, their jazz stuff. You didn't know what you're gonna get when you walked into, Paisley or Slam, because it could have been any of those things on any night. And it was always new. It was always fresh. It was always exciting, and it was always just, that magical experience that.
The unknown.
Yeah.
The unknown.
And when you say always, like, do you really mean always?
Always.
Always. Like, there was never an exception. There was never a time when you walked in there thinking, "Oh, I know what I'm gonna get. I get what's gonna happen here. It's all good."
It's all good. You never knew, and it didn't matter what he did. You still were just like, holy crap! I just saw Prince.
Yeah. So
100, 200, whatever times it was. Holy crap! I just saw Prince.
So 100, 200, like, let's just break it down. I mean, over the course of your life, how many times do you think you saw him?
It has to be approaching 300.
Oh,
But I don't have an official count anymore. I do not have an official count, because there are so many nights at Glam Slam and there's so many nights at Paisley.
You saw Prince 300 times.
It's got to be approaching that, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
300 times. So what makes a man want to keep going back? Why do you go and see 300 shows?
There was just that he always was above the bar. It didn't matter if, like, there were times where he was just absolutely pissed off at Warner Brothers, and he would do a whole show looking at Michael Bland back on the drums, and and just playing that way. So you're just looking at his back the whole night.
You're telling me you saw a show where Prince kept his back to the audience the entire time and looked at Michael Bland for the whole time.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that show.
I'm sure Mike enjoyed that.
I mean, we ever get Michael Bland on this podcast, I am making a note right now to ask him about this gig. So talk to me about this, because I mean, this is interesting stuff.
So
Where was it?
Slam. Or no, I'm sorry. This was at Paisley. That was at Paisley.
This is at Paisley. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So you're at Paisley Park.
Paisley Park, and it was in
What
the back room. It wasn't the main stage.
Okay.
And he was, you could tell the days that the Warner Brothers thing was getting to more, and that was
Yeah.
one of the days that he was just
Pissed.
and it was just guitar and guitar and guitar.
More guitar.
And literally he was looking at Michael the whole night, and we're like, is he gonna turn around? Is he gonna?
And the answer was no.
No.
How
And
long?
I mean-
how long was that show?
that was probably only about 45 minutes show.
Okay.
So you walk out of the building that night, right? Prince
Yeah.
did not look at you the entire night.
Yeah.
Just wailed on the guitar.
Yeah.
Michael Bland got like the face all night. You get into your car. You got your boy David with you, right? What do you guys say when you're driving home from that show? What are you guys talking about?
You're talking about how it doesn't matter what he's up there doing, it's still going to exceed your expectations, and it's still going to blow you away, and it's still going to be, this magical experience that you can't get anywhere else.
So you're hooked. I mean, you're pretty much addicted at this point.
Big time.
Like
Yeah.
you can't stop yourself from going.
Can I go back to Glam Slam?
Yeah.
Had you been out to Paisley Park before Glam Slam opened?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
A lot or
Yeah, how does that work?
Okay, so David, his uncle was one of the contractors building Paisley. So we got to go out there while it was being built, and
Wow.
it was five was a dirt road, and
First-
Audubon Road was a
first person in Glam Slam?
Yeah.
Just
Paisley Park.
laying the foundation.
Right there at the beginning. We are starting at the beginning.
yeah. But it was like 5 was a dirt road. It wasn't, it
Yeah,
wasn't
he
paved or
built
nothing.
it in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was. It was. We actually got. There's a 5 that goes out through Minnetonka. Is it like County 5, and then this Minnesota 5 that Paisley's on?
I don't know.
So we took the wrong one at first, heading out there, and
Oh, I've been in
driving
that
forever.
situation.
And then trying to get back, might have been going a little fast, and actually got pulled over and got a ticket. So,
Maybe.
Yeah. And then,
Wait, do you have that ticket in your car still?
Yeah. No. But and then we drove past it the first time, and was that it? And we kept going for a little bit, and we turned around and got back, and that's
So do you go into Paisley pre-Paisley opening? Or do you just like go out to Paisley?
out to Paisley.
Out to
Yes,
Paisley.
we
Then
didn't get
you're
to go
looking,
in. Yeah.
You're looking at the outside,
Yeah.
etc. So tell me about the first time you walk into Paisley Park.
There was after I don't know how long after it opened up, officially opened up, they did some like tour things of it where you got to go through, and you saw his like train car full of his white boots, and another train car thing full of his purple boots.
So they're doing like tours. I didn't realize they
we
were
got to
doing
go through
tours
the
that soon.
Yeah, so we saw the studios.
Did you pay for that, or was that like a
Yeah,
hey,
there was a
just
cost
show
for
up?
it. And
Okay.
you had to be bussed in. But you had to park.
Where'd you find out about that? Like, was that like just like on
Ooh.
like
I think it was just-
WCCO or
yeah.
something? Like, hey,
Yeah.
Paisley Park is doing tours, and you get to check it out.
Yep.
So you walk through the doors the first time.
Mhm.
Like, how do you feel?
It was just I don't know if they still had it like when you were around, but he had like some fake stairs and fake doors. Like you'd open a door and there's a wall.
No,
And there's
I
fake,
didn't-
so,
No,
so
I
there's
have
lots
never.
of-
I have
yeah.
never heard about this. So there's fake.
Back then, there was like you'd go downstairs and there was a door. You open a door and it's just a wall. Like he had like stuff like that back
so
then. So
what's up
you're-
with
you're-
that? Like, is he just messing with people?
Yeah, yeah. And then the tour guide, he told us afterwards that there was something he did for some reason, that he kind of threw that into his trying to mess with like the bigwigs, the Warner Brothers and all that stuff, that he did that. That was what.
So Prince is running game on the Warner Brothers people. Y'all coming to my house?
Yep.
I'm gonna make you walk down a fake set
Yep.
of stairs. I mean, it's fantastic. I
Yeah.
mean, this is great.
Yeah.
I did not know that Prince had fake stairs and fake doors at
Yeah.
Paisley Park.
Well,
Does
it
he
also-
eventually
It was
take
all-
that stuff out?
I never heard of those again later on, so I don't know if it was just something. Maybe there was part of it that wasn't done.
Yeah.
That was like that
Yeah.
for. Or I don't know.
Just wild.
It also goes to show that he always wanted it to be like a museum or like
Yeah.
open to the public.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
right from the jump.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was right from the jump.
Yeah.
Did
Did
you
I.
know that,
It was.
Dustin?
No, I know.
No, because I always thought like at some point he was just like getting tired of like the glam slam world, so he opened up Paisley, right? I mean, I knew other stuff was going on out there, but so you go out there for the first time and you're just like on a tour. When's the first time you see a show out there? Is he doing shows simultaneously at
So-
Glam Slam and at Paisley, or
That was going to be my question. Like,
Yeah.
were you like, how many times did you leave Glam Slam and go to Paisley Park, or was it like one or the other?
The first time that there was like a event out at Paisley, it started at Slam, And it was me and Vince and a few other people, maybe Mike, and I can't remember, but so we're at Slam. This is back when like everyone can go upstairs. It wasn't just exclusive anymore. And so we're all upstairs, and there was a DJ, and all of a sudden they announced they're gonna do a scavenger hunt. And when the scavenger hunt was done, if you got everything, they would give you a pass to go out to Paisley Park.
Serious scavenger hunt here.
Yeah.
Best scavenger hunt ever.
I don't remember
I'm getting this stuff, though. I don't care what's going to happen.
Yep.
I am going to get this stuff. I'm going to Paisley.
Yep. So I don't recall at all what it was we had to find or get or do, but I know Vince and I were one of the first few to finish. And we run out to our cars, and he's like, I don't know how to get there. I'm like, just follow me. He's like, you got to go fast because we got other people. We want to. And there was something.
So this is like a game, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a game. You're getting the scavenger hunt. You're finding the deal, and then you get like the golden ticket almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And so got to go.
I'd call it the purple ticket.
The purple ticket. I mean, this is wild.
Yeah.
This is wild.
And then we get out on 394. We're heading out there, and two other guys that were in the group, I mean, they just, like, 100 miles an hour just fly by us. And then the cop pulled over both of our cars. We were like, we weren't the ones. So
Come on.
we got tickets.
Popo.
Yeah. And
If anybody's keeping score, this is the
That's
second
ticket
time
we've gone to
he's
Paisley.
been pulled over going to Paisley Park.
and
Something about that adrenaline.
No, I mean, I'll tell you, there is like the Paisley, back to my Exodus deal, like Return of the Bump Squad would hit while I'm driving in my Honda. And I'll tell you what, all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I got to slow down here, you know. Anyway, go ahead. I know all about the Paisley speeding. Go ahead.
yeah, so we finally get out there, and there was like a couple dozen people already in there, and they were thanking us for getting the cops out of their way so they can go faster. And this was actually, they had food there, they had beverages there, nothing to, no alcohol. But it wasn't like when things really started going where there was, you just went there and maybe got bottles of water.
Right.
For $2.
Yeah. And then he played all the Paisley that night. So,
And that was the first time you saw him at Paisley?
yeah. Yep.
What was the set list like on that? You remember?
I don't remember right now.
What year?
300 shows, man. It's hard.
I know.
It's hard to remember set
Come
lists,
on,
man.
Bill.
So, so you don't remember the set list, but like, do you remember like walking through the doors and being like, there's a show that's going to happen here?
Yeah. Yeah, and that was just, like, we were, where did they sequester us? We walked in, they had us in a room where they had like a buffet table. They had like, one thing I remember, they had this white chicken chili there that was so good. So good.
So they're serving.
I can remember that.
They're
I
serving
remember the
white,
food. I don't remember the music for some reason.
white chicken chili.
Yeah.
At Paisley
At
Park.
Paisley Park.
For free, right? Like you just
Yeah, it was free.
just grab yourself a cup of white
Yep.
chicken chili. You can have a bottle of water, and here's some
Yep.
Fritos.
And it was a specific.
Prince will be on shortly.
Yeah. There was some like chef food truck guy, whatever, that it was all his food that was there. I remember all that. Why can't I remember the music? That's weird.
because it's like the details are interesting. Because like I remember things like where like the catering was there and like seeing like all like the accoutrement of like the scene. Like I remember those images, but I can't remember exactly what he played or how he played
Yeah.
it. It's just like it's like the white chili is like it's like memorable,
Yeah,
right? Because it's
yeah.
so different.
That's the white chicken chili night.
That was the white. I mean, it's crazy, but it just shows you. You have spent pretty much an entire year of your life seeing Prince live.
Yeah.
And does not include all of the dance nights, right?
Nope.
And then you did like the dance nights out at Paisley too. I'm guessing, right?
Absolutely.
Because you got to go because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you don't know because there's always the expectation. How did you? So as you transition to Paisley Park, how are you getting information that like, hey, something's going to be happening at Paisley, something's going on? How did you know these things were?
The internet's like minimum.
Right.
You got to be in that inner circle.
Right. Yeah. And lucky for me, I had two friends that were way more tied into everyone at Paisley than I was. And
who are these people?
Christina and Vince.
Yeah. So Christina
Thrones.
Really?
Yeah.
who just
Okay.
got married.
Who just
so-
got
Yeah.
married? Yeah, we were at the wedding.
I don't know her last name. And Vince,
Phil,
I
yeah.
don't know Vince well. I mean, I know he passed away.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Vince. How did you know Vince and Christina? Like, did you meet him in the scene or?
No, Vince's older sister, who is my roommate right now for a little bit until she moves to England, she was my best friend for a couple years. And after a couple years, and then I was with the girl I ended up being engaged to that didn't last. That was a couple years, and when that finished, kind of Vince then jumped in to the void.
Yeah.
Stacy, I think she moved to Tennessee at the time, I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but so that's how Vince got in the circle, and then we met Christina through Vince, and then Taft, and
So did you
Prince friends.
yeah,
Yeah. So was Vince a Prince fan before you
Yeah.
met him?
yeah,
Okay.
Yep.
And Christina obviously was
Mhm.
also. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep.
Gotcha.
And then Taft, because, I mean, like, we know Taft, obviously.
Yeah.
And we know you through
Yeah.
Taft, right?
Yeah.
So how did you meet Taft at Paisley?
So here's how this all came about. Taft applied to live at the apartment complex that Vince was managing,
Oh.
Oh,
and
wow.
on his application he mentioned he's a Prince fan.
Taft did?
Yeah,
Because he had the Adore plates, right?
I think so. I think he had those back then. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that
He had the Adore plates
he had
back
that-
then.
Yeah.
I remember.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I remember.
We're
he
going
had
to get Taft on this thing. We're going to talk
Yep.
to Taft about this, too.
I remember he had that purple truck, and his
Yeah.
it was like super high tech at that time, but he could get into his truck by hitting the numbers
Yeah.
on the outside of the handle, and of course it was 1999. Come on, Taft.
Still friends with Taft today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep. Just talked to him on the phone twice last week. So
Yeah, I mean, talk to us. I mean, how many friends and, like, in your circle of relationship, how many of your close friends are, like, Prince people?
probably about a third of all my friends, and that's family, work friends, work everything. About a third of them are all Prince geeks like me.
It's one of those things too where it's like if you meet somebody that's also a Prince fan and you haven't met them before, it's like, oh, we have so much in common. Like,
Yeah.
like we can talk for hours already. I don't even.
Well, there just today I went to Chipotle, and
Shout out
Stand-
Chipotle, sponsor us.
yep. I'm last dude in line. I'm watching one girl leave, and I see her key, and she's got this like a 3-inch symbol keychain. The Prince symbol.
Nice.
Yeah.
Rocket.
And so I went, dearly beloved. She goes, what? I was like, I got you.
That's like when I was in Austin recently for a friend's bachelor party. We just randomly walked into this bar, and the lead singer had the symbol
Okay.
around his neck, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I need to,
I just need to know
I need to know
this
who you
dude.
are. Like, shake
Yep.
your hand. Like, I just need to. Yeah, we're gonna connect.
Yep.
I'm gonna be here to the end, and they were jamming too.
So how did it feel when Glam Slam closed?
2006, I believe.
No,
or
it was
no,
1996.
I was confusing the quest.
Yeah.
1996.
1996.
It was-
Yes.
There was some mixed emotions with it, and at the time, most of the events were already happening at Paisley, so there wasn't as much going on at Slam. And so when it happened, it was kind of a mixed bag because it was something that it had such a big moment, in my life and in my timeline. So seeing that go kind of sucked, but we were already
It was a
Paisley.
new scene, right?
Yeah.
So contrast like the Glam Slam scene with the Paisley Park scene. So you're transitioning, we'll call it like 95, right? And this is when Dustin and I kind of come on, right?
Yeah.
So this is like our era, that whole
Yeah.
like 95.
yeah.
I mean,
And
that's
was
it.
it-
That's it. So contrast like Glam Slam and that whole deal, downtown Minneapolis to Paisley Park, Chanhassen.
Yep.
What's
and did,
similar?
Did
what's
Glam
different?
Slam like fade out?
Yeah.
And Paisley picked up.
Yep. It was like that. And then, so a lot of the differences, there were more people at Slam. Paisley was always like the smaller,
Right.
you
Because
had to know, it wasn't just everyone could walk in.
45 plus minute drive to get
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, you had to get the call from whoever to say, hey, it's tonight. and you would hold where Slam was.
And you're not getting the call, right? Like, you're not cool enough to get the call. Vince is getting the call.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I got you. 'Cause
Yep. I've got a story about one of those nights too that we can get to later.
no, let's talk
him.
about it right now.
Right
Talk to
now?
us. Yeah, right. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's not lose it.
All right. So Vince rented out my basement for many, many years. And
What year are we talking?
so this had to
Rough estimate.
when this happened. This is probably 96, 97.
Okay.
But
Close enough.
so it was a night we got the call there was going to be an event. And I'm like, Boogie, let's go. And he was in a mood like, he's like, I don't know if I want to do it tonight.
Oh,
Wait,
come
what?
on.
Yeah.
Come on, Vince.
Yeah.
Come on, Vince.
So, okay, so the weird part about the story is the house that I'm in, I bought it. It was an estate. The old lady died there. And we all were pretty sure that she was still there
Yeah.
in one form, you know?
Yeah.
She never liked, if I went downstairs to talk to Vince, my stereo always got turned off. And so we always, if she doesn't like Brent, she doesn't like my music, whatever. So on that night, we're downstairs. He's like, I don't know if I want to go. You know, I have to think about this. And we're going back and forth. And we notice, she's turning my music off again. And then we keep going back and forth. And we talked about other things and other stuff going on. And then we get back to, are we going out there or not? And at one point, Vince just goes, just give me a sign. 7 starts on my stereo upstairs.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's like, what? I'm like, okay, she wants the house for herself. Let's get out and go.
And you go to the show.
We went to the show.
Now, do you remember the show?
I don't remember the show.
Don't remember the show. See, this is what's crazy, you know, like, I mean, you see 300 shows, it's just like they just blend, man.
Yeah.
They
I mean, there are shows that
blend.
stand out, but, 300 shows, it's, yeah.
So give us the kind of that 90s era, like a show that stands out at Paisley 90s era. What's something that just like you think, man, I am so happy I was at that show. It was ridiculous.
There's some of the party nights that were just crazy out there. Where
Besides
it was all,
that
like
gold
playing
one.
Now and playing, when you first started playing, wow.
Happens. So many songs.
Days of Wild.
Days of Wild.
Yeah.
My favorite song ever.
Yeah.
By the way, just in case anybody wants to know, Days of Wild. If you don't know, you better ask somebody.
Yep. So when he first started playing that time frame and all those shows were just, it was all party, all funk, all just go out there and dance your ass off.
And that's also kind of the time that Mark and I started
Oh yeah.
discovering Paisley Park.
Uh-huh.
The 95, 96, 97, where that whole Exodus gold area was just in full effect. And hook, line, sinker.
It's just crazy times.
Yeah.
Crazy times. Because, I mean, how often was he playing at that point?
It would go in phases. There'd be like maybe a month and a half, 2 months where he was like pretty much every Saturday you were heading out there. And then you would go 4, 5, 6 months with nothing happening.
So it was like on, off.
Yeah.
On, off.
Yep.
So while you were out there, you were doing Paisley, you were seeing shows, you would get the gigs, you would find out about them. Vince was hooking you up with the info.
Yeah.
Various sets.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
Yep.
Celebrities? You ever see any celebrities out of Paisley Park?
Absolutely.
Who'd you see at Paisley Park?
Gwen Stefani, TLC, Clapton.
You saw Eric Clapton at Paisley Park.
Yeah. Was he Slam or Clapton? I saw him out that one of the two.
One of the two. You saw
And-
Eric Clapton,
and
like
I-
not like some like pseudo Eric Clapton, but like the Eric Clapton.
And
We're talking slow hand.
I
man.
used the Prince line on him.
I was so into Eric Clapton.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is Eric Clapton. I mean,
Yeah. So, have you guys heard, the one of Prince's bootlegs where, they're up there jamming, Eric's out in the crowd, and Prince is making fun of Eric, saying, Eric can't play this funk. He wears those flat shoes.
yeah.
He can't play this funk.
I didn't realize because Dustin had that bootleg. Do you
Okay,
remember
yeah.
that? Dustin, you remember that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, because you can't play the funk in flat shoes. You got to have
Yeah.
heels. Yeah, I remember that bootleg because Dustin had it. And what's crazy is I didn't know up until 1 second ago that Eric Clapton was actually in the crowd at that show. He was in the crowd at that show.
Well, hold on. So This
Crazy.
was after that event. So
Blow my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just catching
Well,
up to
well,
you,
hold on,
Bill.
hold
You're
on.
blowing my mind. You're blowing my mind.
That part I can't confirm that you got there, but the part I had was I walked up to Eric because he was just standing there by himself, and so I walked up to him. I was like, "I see you're still wearing those flat shoes."
What'd he say?
He was like, "I am, and I can't play that funk either."
That is fantastic. I love that bootleg, man.
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that was, it was just so quintessential Prince, right? Like calling out like one of the best guitar players in the world, saying, "You can't do what I can do."
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, crazy.
Saw Jamie Foxx out there. He was out there a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
How many times did you see Jamie Foxx out there?
Handful of times, 4 or 5 times, I think so.
I never saw Jamie.
Oh, I saw Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx was out
Yeah.
there.
Did I see Jamie?
Yeah,
Foxx?
Jamie Foxx was out there, kind of that like 97, 98 era. He was there.
Maybe I did.
Jamie Foxx, Chris Rock, yeah. Both those dudes were out there. I only saw him once,
Yeah.
maybe twice.
You know, one of my most shocking, I just came to my head, one of my most shocking times
Celebrities.
of walking into, walking to Paisley, and that dude's up there DJing.
That dude, he's pointing at
I'm
DJ
pointing at
Dudley
Dustin,
D
yeah.
right now. Yeah.
But like that was like, what in the absolute hell?
Who asked this guy to DJ?
So because you had known Dustin before,
I think we had just started
talking, hanging out, seeing each
I
other.
think that was we still had it was me and Teft and Vince crew, and it was your guys' crew, and
Yeah,
and there was a
so-
little gap in the show.
You know what?
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about this earlier too when you were talking about the getting the new album
Yeah.
and then riding around.
Yeah.
And one of the first times that I'm assuming you were there, but it was when New Power Soul was released.
yeah,
and we were
yeah.
at Cheapo.
yeah.
And
Cheapo
then-
Records on Hennepin.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Teft was there, and that's when we all kind of were just like, "Hey,
Yep.
what's your like?" Because you
I
see,
remember
you
that,
see
yeah.
tells, you know,
Yep.
Yeah, because there's like the regulars, right? Mm-hmm. So like, let's go back to Glam Slam. I mean, were the regulars there? Like, did those people like last, or did they kind of just like fade into the sunset? Where are those folks
There was only maybe like 3 or 4 people from the Glam Slam years that I remember constantly seeing at Paisley.
at? Okay.
And there was the last night that I was at Paisley that he did the piano and a mic show,
Okay.
and then like the next weekend he had just a little party where he did his little DJ thing
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah.
So one of those guys was there, and this whole time I never, we never connected much. We
But you
knew
know
each other.
but you knew him.
Yeah.
But you didn't know him. But
Yeah,
you knew him.
and so that night, that was like the first time at one of the events. I walked up. I said, "Dude," he said, "I've seen you around since Slam." He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, man. You've been around a long time too." And
Yeah.
he was like drunk. He was
wait,
so
who was
tough.
this?
Some dude.
It was. I don't know his name.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
his name, but he was
Oh.
just someone I remember seeing back at. He was one of the Glam Slam guys.
So last show you saw 300 shows. The last show you saw was the piano and microphone show.
Yep.
At Paisley Park.
Yep.
Did you see both sets or just
I saw the second set.
you saw the second set?
Yeah.
So that was the last set that you saw.
Yeah.
So tell me about that gig, because I'm sure you remember that gig.
Absolutely. That night. So the second song he did was "The Love We Make."
Yeah.
And that instant, I'm like, worth it. This is
It's worth the shuttle. It's worth all the rigmarole here.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah. And then just the whole up and down of that show, just he'd use Purple Rain in the middle of the set,
Yeah.
which is weird. And afterwards, he's even like, I probably shouldn't have done that. It's a little
Yeah.
emotional now, whatever.
Yeah.
But and he just did like he hits the note on the piano and goes, "Everybody's looking for the ladder." And he stands back from the piano, and the crowd is just loud. Like that was like the biggest crowd reaction. And there were so many moments like that where it was just like one of the most mind-blowing things. That show ended, and it was like, this is a top 5 show ever.
Yeah.
And so-
Different than anything else, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that was still, and he was still kind of playing around with the whole thing. He didn't have it all buttoned down yet, and it was just a mind-blowing show. And
Top
it was-
5.
Absolutely.
What else is in the top
Wow.
5?
There was one night out at Slam. No, I'm sorry. One night at Paisley. It was their last like rehearsal before they went out. Before the it was just when you got Renato in the band. And
Musicology or before that?
Nope.
One Night Alone tour.
No.
Oh yeah, kind of that whole that
It was
era.
the more the jazzy phase, whatever.
Yeah.
You have Rhonda on
Rainbow
bass.
Children.
Huh?
Rainbow Children.
Yeah,
era.
that album. So
Yeah.
it was right before that album came out.
That's when Dustin was DJing for him.
Yeah, but they did one show right before they left, and I think it lasted just over 2 hours, and they played maybe 5 songs, no vocals. It was just all instrumental jams.
I'm
And
trying to remember that
I
because
wasn't at that gig.
you were there.
Oh,
Because
I was at that gig.
Yeah, you
It
were
just
there.
faded into the subset, not in my top
But
5, but
I remember
I'm sure
there-
it was awesome.
So there was one song that the last like 8 minutes it was Rhonda doing a bass solo and Prince doing a guitar solo. And Rhonda
How do you
doing
know
a
I
bass
was
solo.
there? Like you say with
Because-
such confidence.
That song ended, and we were kind of near each other, and you were like, he could have played that song till next Tuesday, and we'd still be here just going. I remember that quote from you, man.
No, I was there then because that totally sounds like me.
Yeah.
Oh, they just all blur together.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean-
sometimes hard to distinguish set to set. You know
Yeah.
what actually happened.
Yeah.
So what else? So you got the Glam Slam Gold show.
Yep.
You got piano on the microphone. You got this Renato show.
Yep.
Give us your other 2 in the top 5 that you saw.
There was the night that he played The War for the first time.
Tell us about that.
I was there.
You were there.
We were both there.
I was gonna say I was there, but I mean I was that was the night.
Yeah.
Apparently, all 3 of us were there.
Yeah.
We were there. Hey, and we're gonna talk about the war here, all podcast listeners. just an interlude, just like we did on the Exodus. Just a quick
Yeah.
interlude. If you do not know about the war, you better ask somebody.
Yes.
Google it.
Yes.
So tell us about the war, Bill. Why should they be listening to the war?
So it's 22 minutes of just mind-blowing. I want to just say music for it, but it's mind-blowing experience.
Yeah. So tell us about the night. How did it go down?
So it started. He was on the stage by himself, and he started playing the drum track for it.
1, 2.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
evolution will be
Yep.
colorized. 1, 2, and he's kind of
Yep.
getting the crowd going,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And he recorded all of us. Aren't we all on that?
Yeah, we're on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dustin's up in the DJ booth, so he's too cool for
Yeah.
cool to be on it. But you and me are on
Right,
it, Bill.
right.
I was
Yep.
right there. I was front row that night.
Yep. And then it's just kept building and building and building, and then you just go boom and drop it back down to nothing again, and just start building it again. And it was just lifting us up and taking us down, and lifting us up and taking us down, and it was just a wild roller coaster ride that you didn't want to have end.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I thought what was particularly crazy. I mean, we're going to talk about the war probably like on every other podcast, by the way. So if you don't want to talk about the war, I mean, get to your next podcast because, I mean, we're going to talk
Go
about the war.
get the war and get in the game.
Get in the game. You guys
Yeah.
need to go listen to the war because we're going to stretch this thing out a little bit because I think the war is such a quintessential piece of Paisley Park history.
Yeah.
And it really, I think, is reflective of kind of that whole Paisley Park community and
Yep.
how Prince pulled in the community in relationship to like, I'm going to have you sing on the track. I'm going to have you participate in the track. Like I produced this, I wrote this, but like it was like a community affair.
Yeah.
Like, and he was like, all right, you don't want to participate? You can leave now. Saturday morning awaits. You
Yep.
want to get out of here? I'm about to challenge you. It's like
Yeah.
Prince is the quintessential teacher, and he's producing something like literally we're 2 feet away from him,
Yeah.
and the guy is like
When he was on a brand new
making the
instrument.
sound. Yeah, which one was that?
Wasn't it that like kind of had the drum thing so he could play the drums a little bit and had like
Oh, yeah, I think it was Red. Is
Yeah.
it Red? Yeah, and
Yeah.
then it had the different pads on it.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy because I had forgotten that portion. I didn't realize that
I
he
think
was
Tommy
on.
played it later on.
Because
Right?
I remember the keyboard. Tommy was gone at that point.
The
'Cause
the guitar that Tommy would come out and solo
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
there was that,
but this is
No, it was Kirk.
Kirk
played it. Yeah.
Yeah, he had the same kind of guitar he played on Leno when he played Come On.
Yeah.
That's when he first had that piano like synth with like
Yeah.
the what do they call that with the it's like
Slider
it's almost
bars
like
or-
ladder,
yeah.
like he would just like turn that thing and just like work the heck out of
Yeah.
it, just bend some notes and
Yep.
stuff. Oh, that song was just so crazy.
Yep.
So do you remember? Do you remember the pre-war set? Because like he played songs before the war.
Yeah. Do
you remember that?
I'm drawing a blank right now.
Yeah, I mean he did like the cross, or the Christ, and he did. It was kind of like this whole.
I don't like when he did the Christ, but
yeah. But it was like the
whatever.
same. But it was like that. But there was like 5 or 6 songs before the war.
Yeah.
And then like that whole set was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, do you remember getting the tape in the mail?
Uh-huh.
That was like 3.5 weeks later.
Yeah.
Let's for people that don't know, just talk about
What a cassette tape is?
No.
We
covered that in episode 1.
Oh, okay.
What is a cassette tape? You should go to Wikipedia. Check that out. Cassette tape.
Links in the comments. No, but just how did you get just talk about how you got the cassette tape. Like what happened?
What's crazy is I don't know how I got the cassette tape because they just sent that cassette tape out, I think. So if you had bought something from 1-800-NEW-FUNK, the most awesome thing ever.
Was it
except for the
what is
jersey.
it? What, wait, was it
Except for the jersey.
1-800-NEW-FUNK?
The jersey was a ripoff, y'all. They took my money. I want my money back, Prince. But if you had ordered something from 1-800-NEW-FUNK, I think you were on like the mailing list. You didn't have to order the war cassette. It just showed up one day in an envelope at my parents' house. Blank,
envelope.
Logan Avenue South, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it's just like, and the sticker in the corner is like Paisley Park Studios. And you're like, wait, what? And then you open it up, and it's this tape, The War. It's got the whole thing on it. Mm-hmm. And then you go and you put it in your cassette player. 1, 2. And then you're like, that's me.
Yep.
And this just happened like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, I love that song. And we listened to that song. That's on heavy rotation still. Uh-huh. Heavy rotation. If you don't know, better ask somebody.
Get to the records. No, you can't even get to the record store. You got to go.
No, I don't even know. Is it on like Tidal?
I have no idea.
We got to figure that out.
Check that
Because
out,
everybody who's listening, write a note, put it on a Post-it. You got to find The War.
Ask a friend.
Ask a friend. It's so good. So, okay, so you got The War. That was just crazy night.
Yeah.
What's another kind of Paisley night that you just like? Top five Prince shows. Whether it's Paisley, whether it's
there was
Slam.
One night where they did a show, and this isn't when the stage was in the back room.
In the back room, you're talking about the MPG Music Club?
Yeah. Yeah, we also call it the backstage area is what we called it. But,
you call it the Slam, so you're like...
Yeah.
you're
Bill number one. Bill number one here.
It was back there, and they had a full performance done, and then the last half hour or so, it was just him and acoustic guitar. Just...
I wasn't there.
I was not there
Yeah.
either. So you're telling me Prince on the acoustic guitar
for about a half hour, 40 minutes, yeah.
Give me a couple of the songs.
He did Sometimes It Snows in April is the one I remember. And he dragged that show, that song out. He played that a long time of it.
What year is this, do you think? Just guesstimate. Early 90s, late 90s?
Late 90s. So I think he was wearing that blue jumpsuit from the rave.
God, wait, were we there?
I wasn't there, but it just shows you how much stuff I missed.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? Whatever I was doing.
Yeah.
You might have had a date.
Might have.
There was 1 week where I don't know if it was still WLOL or if that was gone. It was K-Dweeb, whatever. But
1.3.
Yep. He did 5 nights in a row where he did shows out of Paisley that they were all announced on the radio. There was just crap ton of people out of Paisley. And it kind of sucked because everyone was like, "Oh my God, I'm on a Princess thing," and you're like, "Shut up." And
so let's just talk about that for 1 second. I need to just put a pause in this whole thing. So like you're in the scene, and then there are people that are not in the scene.
Yeah, that they're all showing up because they heard on the radio.
So how do you feel about said people that are not in the scene?
Those kind of nights were not the best nights to be out there.
Why not?
It was just a different vibe. It was just people who were probably like we were way back when it first opened and started happening, but they were all, we're 150, 175, 200 shows into it, and they're all newbies that they're, oh my God, and everything's all
pushing you out of the way and
yeah,
no respect
yeah,
for your space.
yeah. But he did 5 nights in a row, and these shows all started at like normal time, like 9 o'clock at night.
So what did normal show start at? What's not a normal time?
A normal Paisley,
Normal Paisley time, just so people know.
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
If you're lucky, was that early?
Yeah, I mean, back in the 90s, it was doors usually opened at 1 o'clock.
Party at.
And then, the
Party.
doors to Paisley at 1 o'clock.
Show
and
at.
then you'd have to suffer through myself DJing for a couple hours,
Yeah.
maybe 3, depending on when he decided to
Roll
perform.
in.
If he did perform.
Yeah.
And you didn't know.
You never knew.
I mean, yeah.
You never knew, did you?
Well, sometimes I had an idea, but no,
Yeah.
it was never like, oh yeah, you're going to play for an hour and 20 minutes and then he's going to hit the stage. Like, there's no set time.
Yeah, it was. So it's just more organic, right?
Yeah.
It's just like things are just gonna kind of.
Yeah, you never know. All of a sudden, he's like, he comes up with a CD and you're playing a new song. And then after the song, they're hitting the stage immediately. Or after the song, you're DJing again and you have no idea. You have no idea. And a lot of times, too, I think it was just like how the crowd is. Like, what is the crowd?
Mm-hmm.
Is the crowd, do they deserve this?
Maybe.
There are so many nights out there where we'd show up, and whether it was you or Jules, and there was a third guy that was out there sometimes.
DJ Fat?
I can't remember, but he played like 90% exclusively house music. So the whole night was just
I don't
boom,
know.
boom, 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 and
I
that was it.
remember that.
And Vince and I would like leave those nights early. Like we'd sit up by the stage and wait, and something we're like, I hate house. Dum, 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 dum. I hate house.
Where were you? I mean, that's an interesting question. Where were you, like, in relationship to the stage? Like, were you like a front row guy? Were you like a mid pack guy? Or
I
were
like
you
being as close to the sound booth as possible, because
Why the
usually
sound
you
booth?
you had more room to shake your booty,
Yeah.
and you got the better sound.
So you were really interested in like where.
Yeah.
So you could hear the music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'd
so-
seen him.
so
up
did
you could
you-
still see him well, and
Yeah.
I'd been enough.
So you weren't pressing the front.
No.
Never pressing the front.
So one time that happened that I have a good story for, it was the first time that I actually had like a physical interaction with Prince, and this was back at Slam, and he was supposed to play. He was late because you know he's late for everything.
Well, I mean, he's on time.
Yeah.
When he shows up,
Yeah,
it is
it's on
on
time,
time.
yep. So, and this was back when it was still, we had, the ability to go upstairs, and most people didn't. And we're upstairs, we're waiting in the, where the parties usually happen. And we're like an hour and 45 minutes past when they said he's going to start playing. And I left that room, went and used the bathroom. Came out of the bathroom, and as I'm getting to a corner, I see his bodyguard come walking down that same hallway that I was going to turn into.
Who was that at the time? Do you remember?
Skinny bald dude. I don't remember
Aaron?
his name. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
So he walks by, and so I'm looking at the bodyguard going, and I'm like, oh, he's finally here. And then Prince's nose hits me right between my moobs, which they weren't moobs at the time, but
They are today.
yeah. So, and he just kind of stood back and rubbed his nose and walked on by. The bodyguard behind him was Malachi, who was a friend of mine, and he grabs me and says, that's not the way to meet the guy. Like,
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
wasn't what we tried.
So,
But so he actually played on the main stage that night. He didn't play up in the room. And one of the girls that was with us that night, she wanted to watch from the stage. So we're, chest up on the
front
stage.
center.
Yeah, and for those who weren't there, that stage was chest high. And where we're standing, the backside of Prince's piano was right above us. And at one point of the show, Prince jumped up and sat there. And so his feet are dangling like right here. And when he did one of his little spin moves to get up and stand on the piano, and his foot just missed me. And when he stood up on the piano, he turned around and winked at me. Like, because that was right after we had ran into each other.
Yeah,
It was that night. So
that,
he was like,
that was the evening. And
Yeah.
he almost kicked you in the noggin.
Yeah.
He was like,
So
I
let's
could have
just-
kicked you in the face.
yep.
Let me ask you this, because I think it's interesting, right? So you are around, right, for a long, long,
Yeah.
long time. I mean,
Yeah.
I think out of the people I know in the Paisley scene, there's not many people that like stuck with it for as long as you did. Like,
Yeah.
there's some people that came in around the Dustin and I era. There's some people that came in after that, but
Yeah.
you like precede us, like, and then you like precede us some back to like way early
Yeah.
days. So out of all these shows, all this time, all these kind of interactions, how do you think Prince saw you? Do you think he saw you? Did
Yeah.
he know?
Yeah.
Like when you're rolling out there in 2014, 2015, like, how are you interacting with him? How does he know you? Does he know Bill?
We
like
never
how
spoke.
does never spoke.
Never spoke. Got a lot of those, when you recognize someone looks. So he, there was
He's
sometimes.
seen you.
Yeah.
He knows you.
Yeah. And there was Vince and I
Yeah.
used to joke sometimes. We would get into Paisley and we both got the look from him. That he's like, these two guys again.
Yeah. So he knows you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, how? And you kind of have like special moments over the years, like many.
There was one night I was out there with David out at Paisley. So I got one Paisley and one Slam story that those happened. And
Sure.
the Paisley one, it was in my restaurant career, I had worked 2 like 18-hour shifts in a row, and then found out there was a party at Paisley, and David really wanted to go. I never missed them back in the day, so I'm like, I'm going, but I'm dead. I'm so tired. Got out there. This was in the backstage area again. What did you call it?
Well, the
Yeah.
MPG Music Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're back there, and we were over on one side. The stage was tucked in the corner, but when you underneath where there's that upstairs area,
Yep.
so the stage was
Yep,
back
yep.
in that corner. And we were way in one back corner. I was like, I don't just want to stand here. I got to go over. I was going to the other stairwell, and the sound guy was right there, and I'm like, I'm just going to lean up against that little wall right there. And Prince is on stage playing at this point. Then I walk over, get to where it was, kind of leaning against the wall, and I look up on the stage, and I can hear him playing, and I don't see Prince anymore. And he came walking through the crowd with the guitar, walked right up to me, turned around, and played like a 2, 3, I don't know, could have been 10 minutes, so I don't know. Time just kind of stops. But I literally, it was like this much room between me and him. Just a little, half an inch. And he played, and he played, and he played, and then just walked back through the crowd and got on stage, and Dave was standing next to me, and he goes, I think we can go now.
And that was at Paisley Park.
That was at Paisley.
Do you know what song it was?
I don't remember.
That's the other thing too, like, because I'm sure he was comfortable
Yeah.
because he had seen you so
Yeah.
many times.
Yeah.
That he wasn't worried
Nope.
about just walking up right next to you and jamming.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild. I mean, if you think about it, right?
Yeah. And then the story back at Slam, I was hanging out with Vince and a friend of ours named Mike, and can't remember everything we did that day, but we were in a mall somewhere, and there was a guy that had airbrush, and he had this sweatshirt that was, the whole back of the sweatshirt was Prince's head from like the rave. No, it wasn't rave, obviously. What was it? But anyway, so I bought the sweatshirt. It was just plain cheap white sweatshirt in front of it, and like his whole head took up the back of the sweatshirt. It was all these different colors airbrushed on it.
I'd wear that.
Yep. So we're back at Mike's place, and what I was wearing at the time, something with, I don't know if it was eaten or food or whatever, spilled on it. And so I just took that off and put on the Prince sweatshirt instead. And all of a sudden we find out, let's go to Slam. I was like, well, I'm not going to Slam wearing this. I'm a fan. I'm not gonna be that guy.
But
Well, they talked me into being that guy. So we're upstairs, and it's just a DJ night. And so we're on the dance floor dancing. And all of a sudden I see...
Just a DJ night? Bummer.
I know. So all of a sudden I look, and both Vince and Mike are laughing because, I'm facing this way, and they're facing towards me. I'm like, what are you guys laughing at? I turn around, and there was Prince and whatever girl who's he seen at the time.
You tell me.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember. They were standing there.
I
And
bet she was pretty.
very much so. You nailed it. You nailed it.
So there was a pretty girl in Prince.
Yep. So I turned around and understand. He was looking at me, and he just kind of gave like a little "I'm laughing at you" kind of chuckle laugh, and then he grabs the girl, and they turned and walked away, and he looked back at me again and laughed and kept walking. And I'm like, all right, cool. So Prince just laughed at me because I'm wearing this geeked out Prince fan sweatshirt.
and he's calling you on it.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic,
Yeah.
right? Classic Prince. So I
Yep.
mean, you're with Prince. You're in the deal. You're participating in this community.
Mm-hmm.
How is Prince kind of like shaping Bill? How do you think this experience, right?
Yeah.
Glam Slam,
Yep.
Paisley Park, all the shows, the music, the stories.
Yep.
Like how is that making Bill Bill?
I think some of the main things that I got from all these experiences is to just be me and to go all out at what I want to be. You know, because he didn't care. He wanted to wear, you know, clothes that only women wear. And he
Putting
made
on
it work.
something that another wouldn't dare.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a freeze burn compared to cool.
Yep. You know, and just the way he always reinvented himself and the way he was always so damn confident in what he was doing was the right move. And as far as me being creative, and I don't do much with it anymore, but with my music, I took that with me all the time when I was writing songs and playing what I was playing. And now with my photography, that the creative part, it's just you can't brattle it. You gotta let it free.
Yeah.
And you,
Tell us about your photography.
Plug
So-
yourself. Plug yourself.
all right, so plugging myself, I've got William Drew Photography is my website and my photography business, and I mainly specialize in nighttime photos of Minneapolis skyline and Disney World.
And they are absolutely amazing too. I mean, I feel like being friends with you on social media over the years, I've seen your stuff like take off. And like you said earlier when we were talking before we started this, like you're like on the brink of this could actually be something.
Yeah, it's feeling that way. I've had some really good months lately, and it just seems that everything I'm doing now, I've had the creative side for a while. I'm still getting better at that side, but the business stuff that I've learned lately to go with the creative side and how to tie them in together and not have the business side restrict the creative side or vice versa, that's really starting to blossom for me.
And that's also kind of like Prince always said, you know, it's music business.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so it's photography business. Like
Yep.
you can shoot pictures forever, but you can't eat unless you
Right.
got the business side of it.
Yep. So I think that's all coming together, but I think the main thing is just, you know, you've got to do you, and you've got to give yourself time to grow into yourself, and you know, let everyone see what you are.
You got to do you.
Yeah.
So
And no one did that better than him.
Why not?
I think he just put so much time and effort into being Prince that, you know, that was his one. You know, most people who make it to, you know, his level or whatever, they, you know, they're a musician when they got to go in the studio and make an album, or when they're on tour. Otherwise, they're just whatever they do. And with Prince, he was always Prince. He was always working on music. He was always working on his dance steps. He was always working on, you know, whatever avenue he wanted to get better at.
I think a lot of that too is like, I mean, he said it before too. It's just like back in the day when he was battling the record industry, was like, what was he looked and said, what do I not have that they have? And that's the recording studios.
Yeah.
And so what did he do? Built his own recording
Yep.
studio.
Yep.
And then he's like, now what?
Yeah.
So how do you think he impacts kind of like how you approach your art?
I try not following down the path that everyone else is following, because that's it's lit there.
How do you make those choices? How do you know? Like, how do you see that?
A lot of that is mostly business side stuff. There are, I have a lot of photographer friends, and there are so many photographers that are better than me at, maybe it's, in the post process, and they make their picture look better or whatever. I think I get a little more creative in my setups, but I look at these people and the pictures they turn out, and they're all doing the same thing. They're all putting the pictures in the same area. They're all, putting the same words in their pictures. And I could follow down that path, but there's all these other people there that are all fighting for the same attention. And you got to go off on a different path and find the path that's right for you. And that's always where I've been trying to walk. And
I'll give you an example of how you do you. I messaged you when I was looking for photographers for my wedding, and I asked you to be the photographer at my wedding, and you said, "Hell no."
Yep. Yep, I did.
I hate weddings.
Not gonna happen.
Yep.
I don't do
Not
weddings.
gonna happen.
I've done a few weddings in a day, and those are hell. And
Not your scene.
if I could charge like, $50,000 for a wedding, I'd do it. But I'm not that good at them. I don't have the background to just start charging that amount, and the amount of work you got to do to get to that level. That's the photography I do now. It's me being out in the moment and enjoying where I'm at, and I'm just happening to capture pictures of it. Doing a wedding is goddamn work.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
You
It is work.
You are into the beauty.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
the beauty. You're
Yeah.
trying to capture beauty and
Yeah.
life and
Yeah.
something that you can share and that holds a moment,
And
right?
what I try to like to say is I'm trying to capture a moment, and I want to share this moment, and I want to capture not just what it looks like, but I want to try to capture what it feels like and how it's making me feel and why I'm choosing this particular scene to capture.
And you do Minneapolis, right? Like
Yes.
you're big into shooting scenes around Minneapolis,
Yes.
and then you do a lot of scenes around Disney.
Around Disney, yep.
So why Disney World?
That's just a place, as a family, our parents took us down there starting back in 77. And we would just regularly, we went back in 80 and 83, and then it was every couple of years. And
Right before you heard 1999.
yep. Yep. But it's just always, we went so often now, it kind of feels like home when I go down there. And it's a place where it, kind of like all the times going into Paisley, it never has lost its magical ability to make me feel like a kid and make me feel wonderment and make me feel like something special is going to happen here. And just the way they designed Disney too is just, it's a photographer's paradise down there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And we were talking about it earlier, and I think it's interesting, right? And I told you to stop telling me, right? I was like, no, we gotta record that. I'm gonna come back around on that, because you were making a comparison between Disney World and Paisley Park.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna stop you this time.
Right. So
Tell what's the comparison? What's Paisley Park, Disney World? Talk to us.
I've mentioned this to a couple of people, and everyone looks at me like I'm batshit crazy. But, and it goes with Prince and Walt Disney. It goes with Disney World and Paisley Park. They're both places where magic happened. And you can't explain the magic at either places. When you're at Disney World and you're feeling whatever it is that feels down there, you can't just tell someone that, oh, it feels like magic, because and it's just the atmosphere, the way the building is designed and everything. When you're in Disney World, it's just a magical, all your worries are gone. You feel like a kid. You feel like you can be creative. And when you're at Paisley Park, it's the same thing. It's a magical feeling. You don't know what you're going to see. You just know it's going to be creative, and it's going to open up your abilities to be more creative and be more yourself. And it's two people who were able to capture how to make those feelings happen and last. And as different as they were, as Prince is the rude boy and the bad boy, and Walt Disney is like the family entertainment king of the world, whatever. And they had a lot of similarities where they were able to grasp whatever that magic is and have other people feel it too.
Can you imagine Prince performing at Disney World?
Yeah.
Just
Yep. That was. Now that he's gone, I think it'd be a little more acceptable. But back then, people would be like, "What is he doing here? Why is this guy? I don't want my kids hearing this."
Have you been to Paisley Park since he has passed?
No.
No.
Will you go?
Well, I'm sure there'll be some point where I will.
Why?
I mean, I did the, I walked along the fence and the wall and I read everything that was on there a few times. And that was when my tat idea jumped out at me.
Tell us about your tat.
So my tattoo, I've got 7801, and that's the address at Paisley Park.
Nice.
Audubon Road.
Yep.
Can I see it? Where is it?
Yeah, it's right up here.
Let me. Yeah.
Yeah. But
let's take a look.
all right.
I didn't know
Let me
anything
get
about
undressed.
this.
But I got the idea for the tat as we were walking around Paisley after he passed, and I saw that address sign out in front of it, and it just lit up in my head that I've got to do this.
7801 Audubon Road. Oh, okay. So you got the 7,
Cool. That is so
and
cool.
then the 8 has got the eyes, and then the 0 has got the symbol, and the 1. What's on?
It's the I
from 1999.
1999.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to
70.
use the 1 from 1999 because that's a penis, so I didn't want to put that on my arm.
Good call. Good call. Good call. No, but that is,
And the
that is-
7 is from the single 7.
Yeah.
That's just
Yep.
ridiculous, man. That is a sweet tattoo.
That's awesome.
But that
I believe Mark is gonna get a tat. Or
Yeah,
you've
I'm
talked
getting
about.
a tat, man. We're gonna do this. Maybe I'll have Bill take me.
yeah. So with that, I saw that sign there that I'd seen hundreds and hundreds of times, but I saw it at that time, and it just like.
So what was different? I mean, and maybe we'll just even back up just a little bit further. How, I mean, Prince dies,
Yeah.
right? Like, where were you that day? Like, tell us about that whole.
So I was at home. That was shortly after I had my aneurysm, and it was actually supposed to be the first day that I was supposed to go to work, but the neurosurgeon had to cancel my appointment the day before.
Like same job you already had.
So yeah, the job running at the restaurant I was running at the time.
So you
Yeah,
had an aneurysm. Just
Yeah.
back up to the aneurysm because I remember that story too.
Yeah. So on March 10th of 2016, just as I was laying down for bed at night, it was like 1:30 in the morning, I had a brain aneurysm where a vein in my brain decided, let's party and explode. So I spent 2.5 weeks in the hospital and then another 5 weeks at home. And it was something where at first they're like, you're not going to work for 6 months. You have to take it easy for a long time. And then they saw, how it was, and I went back to work after 2 months. And
Wow.
it was a scary time.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to go back to work on.
I was supposed to go back to work on the 21st, on April 21st. That was the original go back to work date. But my April 20th appointment to see the neurosurgeon to get the final checks, he had to cancel that because of whatever had come up in his schedule. So
So how do you find out?
how did I find out?
Yeah, how did you find out?
I had, I was on my computer. I was working on some photography stuff, and I finished, and I got a Facebook message from a friend that she just said there's someone unconscious at Paisley. I was like, oh. And so I started looking around at stuff and seeing stuff here or there. I had a couple friends call me. We're talking, what's going on? It's got to be him. It can't be him. And I turned on.
Hopefully it's Dudley D.
Yeah. When I was talking to David, he was the one that his uncle was the one that was building Paisley Park, or was building contractors, and he was the one we drove out there with and had a lot of nights out there with him. And I was on the phone with him while he was at work, and I had on whatever channel it was, and it came up that said TMZ reporting that Prince is dead. Just flashed on the screen, and just lost it.
Yeah. Did you go out there that day?
Not that day. I went out on Sunday.
Okay. Check out the fence.
Yep. And then I went back a couple days later, and was it the following Saturday? I went back out there, and it was like the state fair out there.
Yeah, I mean, I remember walking out there, and it was just like, we went out and we brought the kids on. I went out there like immediately. Like I heard the news. I was out there like literally like when it was all going down, and then we went out there the next day on Friday with the kids, and I was like, what the hell have they done to Paisley Park?
Yeah.
It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So how does life change for you with Prince's passing? I mean, you're part of the scene, you're going to shows, you're living the life.
Yep.
There's always kind of like the hope and the, you never know,
We're
right?
all going to grow old together.
No, but yeah, and you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Like something's going to pop, right? Even when like you got, like you were talking about it earlier, right? We go 6 weeks on, 8 weeks on, 10 weeks on.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yep.
And then it's like quiet, 6 months.
Yeah.
2 years, 5 years, right? But there's always like in the back of your head, like, I mean,
You never
Paisley
know.
could happen
I'm
this
ready
weekend.
to go.
I'm ready to go, right? I could get the call right now.
Yep.
Clothes are dry cleaned. I'm calling somebody. We're going. So, I mean, now what?
The biggest thing that's different is not being with you guys and everyone out at Paisley anymore. We miss that. We all had there's all a camaraderie that we all had out there, and we don't get to have that as often anymore. I still I can listen to the music and it doesn't it's not a bad thing. I can listen to it and I'm enjoying it just like I always have, and the videos and everything, that's all the same. It's just you don't have your Prince posse around you as much as you used to.
Talk to me.
Sorry to interrupt
No
you,
worries.
but I think
Go ahead.
it's just like also that we were talking about earlier, like that unknown part. Like you're missing that like spark of
what if
what could what could, like, I mean, there's a lot of times like before I was DJing that Mark and I would be like, it's Friday night, you're going to the U of M, I'm an up and coming wannabe DJ, but like whatever plans are happening on Friday night, like like if we find out that there's something going on at Paisley Park, like we're
Sigma
is getting ditched. we're ditching everyone. Like, or I mean, we're inviting people too, but at the same time, they're 99% of the time they're not coming because they just don't. Yeah,
they have
they
no
don't
idea.
know.
So tell me about the Prince posse, because like I mean, you alluded to like Dudley and I, right? Because we don't hang out on the regular.
No.
I mean, we're not like. I just want like it's important kind of get this out there, but there's this Prince community of people that like you saw.
Yep.
What did that community mean to you?
Look, I'm gonna step back a little bit. There's one thing that popped in my head about talking about when Prince died and things that changed, and one of the biggest things that changed, and it blew my mind that night, and it still kind of takes me back, is the world turned purple.
Yeah.
Never in a million years would have thought. I mean, you don't think about Prince dying, but not only did the world turn purple, but all your life of being a Prince fan and people giving you dirty looks and why you like him and he's dirty and he's
94, man, 94.
Yeah.
These people think he's crazy.
Yeah, and now everyone's like, "Oh, I've always loved him. He's awesome," and it's a totally different world that way now. We're now,
How does that make you feel? Like, I mean, do you embrace kind of like the love and adoration that he's gotten post-death, or do you feel like,
or do you buy a ticket for the pub crawl, the Prince pub crawl?
It's still a weird experience having him be the cool thing now, and it's having people talk about how they like this song and they like that song, they like this album, and and people coming up and asking me about my Prince stories, and that never happened before. So it's weird. But I like it. I still want him to be popular and be more popular. I want whatever's in the vault to come out and have people just explode over it. And
Why? Why do you want that?
he deserves it. He's been the best, and he's been overshadowed. You know, people can't. When you compare him to the best guitar players ever, yeah, it's a favorite thing. You can't really judge technically too much. It's well, he's my favorite, but he's always known now as one of the best guitar players. But with those circle of best guitar players, how many of them are also one of the best piano players ever, and how many of them are one of the best bass players ever, and how many of them have 1,000 years of music in their vault. He's just on a different world that no one else has ever been on, and most 99% of the world hasn't experienced that like we have.
How can they experience it? What, like, if you were like to give advice to somebody that's like, hey, I listened to Purple Rain, I checked out the hits, I listened to some of these songs. What advice would you give somebody that's just getting into Prince music? How would you like direct somebody to go deeper with the music?
I used to be really, really good at that and get people the right albums to follow. I haven't had that question come very often anymore. And a lot of it, you got to kind of know the person who's asking, because there is a wide range of Prince. Some people ask you can throw him at the jazz stuff or at his instrumental stuff. Some you can throw him at some of his more rock stuff, and
you can hook anybody. He's got so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can hook. Yeah, you just got to figure out what they like, and then you can hook them.
You play the response to the person.
Yeah. Yep. And that's always worked well for me doing it that way, instead of just saying, well, this is my favorite, because that's my favorite. It's not gonna our favorites are yours is Days of Wild, and mine is Holy River. Completely different songs.
Yeah.
Holy River! I love that song.
I love that song too. I mean, it's a good song. It's a good song.
I still at the end of the song, I still get the hair raising up in my arms and everything. That song just.
It's on the Emancipation album, people.
Yes.
Check it out.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of albums, what's your favorite album?
Around the World in a Day.
Oh.
Which that's been a recent change. It was 1999, A Sign of Times Forever, and it's Around the World in a Day is just, I think it's just stood the time, and it keeps getting better and better and better. And when Temptation is maybe the worst song on there, and you listen to that song, and he wails in that song. That song is so damn good, and that's like the worst song on the album.
I feel like I need to listen to that album again.
And what other song is on that album?
Huh?
What other song is on that album?
The Ladder.
The Ladder.
That, and then Condition of the Heart. Oh my God, that song. Listen to the piano playing on that song, and his vocals on that song, and then you got Pop Life, which is the first song at Clam Slam.
Yeah.
And
then you got what other
Paisley
song?
Park and Raspberry Beret.
Paisley Park.
And
Before it was a building, before Bill was walking through the doors of Paisley Park, it was on wax. It was a song, and I mean, it's really. I think it's interesting because like before it was a song, before it was like a building and a place, and this is like the recording studio. Like in the song, it says, this is a community.
Yeah.
Paisley Park is a lifestyle. Paisley Park is a way of being. Paisley Park is a way of interacting with one another. It's how are we going to engage? And I think the song, prophetically kind of sets up our life, our experience, right? Like there's like the building was one thing, right?
Yeah.
The building was one thing.
Yep.
And the building's still open. They're doing their tours. God bless them. I haven't been there either.
Right.
But, God bless them. They're hopefully archiving the stuff, and they're doing their deal out there. But that ain't Paisley Park like I think Prince had it or wanted it or as we knew it, right?
Right.
Like there's just something so much more to Paisley Park. And it's about us, it's about people.
Yes.
It's about how people interact. It's about
Yes.
that creativity. It's about that love and that community. And it's about folks of very, very different backgrounds coming together doing their thing. I think it's he was prophetic in that way, right?
Yes.
And even
absolutely.
when the building, may not reflect that, like the legacy lives on that we're still talking, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
We're still talking. Dustin's still DJing parties. things are still going on, right? That the legacy lives on in the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been good, man. We appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you. It's been wonderful being here, and can never talk enough.
I feel like eventually we could do a whole nother episode with Bill.
Oh yeah, Bill,
because
Wensel part 2.
He's gonna go home and he's gonna remember.
Let's not name it Kill Bill 2.
He's gonna remember some of the songs and some of the set lists.
No, we bringing Bill back for sure. Bill is coming back for sure, because Bill is old school, man. I mean, Bill is bringing it back.
84,
82,
82 from the radio, 1999.
I burned through 4 or 5 1999 cassette tapes before Purple Rain came out.
That's fantastic.
Because I was listening to it so damn much.
Fantastic.
Favorite song is Holy River?
Holy River. And the breakdown might be taking that over. The breakdown is just,
Oh, yeah. Tell us about the breakdown.
That was on his second to last album, is that right?
Hey, it's okay to have your favorite song changed too.
Yeah, no,
Like,
it needs to change. It has to change.
Yeah.
If it doesn't change, you ain't growing.
Yep. But the breakdown is there's part of me that thinks that, you know, maybe there was something where he knew he was leaving, and because part of that song is, you know,
You think so?
give me back the time, you can keep the memories, and all, and there's parts of the song that make me think that he knows his time is, you know, winding up, and just the groove of that song is infectious, and just it's typical of him. It's a ballad that's powerful, and you know, the passion in his voice and the screaming and the, you know, it's just a song that just grips you and holds you and squeezes, and it just, you know, that song blows my mind.
The breakdown.
And the live video of that song, you watch it, he cried at the end of it.
It
was that powerful.
I gotta rewatch that.
I gotta rewatch that too.
Yep.
So, breakdown. Another suggestion for all podcast
Yes.
listeners. Go check it out. One more jam, right?
Absolutely.
One more jam to check out.
Yep.
And I think Prince will get you. You know, and I think the catalogs. There's always something, right?
Yeah.
There's always something.
Absolutely.
There's always something. What do you think about the new stuff that's come out? Just like recently released from the vault and all that.
I think they did a really good job with it's called no, it's not Anthem. What do they call it? Anthology. The 95 through 2010. Is that what it's called?
No, but that's just like on streaming, right?
There was no hard copies of that released. I don't know.
But
Okay.
that's stream. But it's got all the cuts.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that
super
when I
jammed
listened to
on.
that the first couple times, I was like, they did a damn good job putting this together.
Good pick.
Yeah. The Piano and a Mic album, I've had that for a long time, and they cleaned that up so well because you can hear it now.
Technology.
Just from the quality perspective.
Yeah, just from a quality perspective. So I didn't listen to it that much before because it was such a crappy audio quality bootleg. But now it's an enjoyable listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are your hopes for the future in relationship to kind of the vault and the estate and like what they're going to do with the music? What are your hopes for the future?
That we keep getting some of the music, and I would hope to God they get some of the live stuff out.
Yeah.
That stuff has to come. The videos and just live albums, and you know, as good as he was live, the fact that there's not, you know, that he didn't take advantage of that opportunity has always been something I thought was strange. And so if we can get
Hopefully he was just saving it for us. I mean, you know.
Right.
Who knows what's in there?
Who knows, man?
I
know it's good.
Yeah.
I would love to be that guy that's just that. There's
Right?
one guy that has a job that's
There is
going
one
through
guy.
all this stuff.
Yep.
And he's making sure that it moves from tape to digital and just documenting. And I hope they're also recording, like, you know, I hope there's film of him and what he's doing, because that has got to be dream job.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, just amazing experience, right?
I mean, what do you do? I'm like, all right, I got to get up again today and go listen to unreleased Prince music. Bummer.
But think of how much there is, though.
Oh.
I mean, that the amount of music that he's released is kind of staggering, but what's unreleased?
Yeah.
And they reported they found he made an album with Ozzy Osbourne.
What?
That was in one of the articles when they first started digging through the vault. There was an
Crazy.
album with Ozzy Osbourne.
I can't keep up with all this
Just
info.
wild. It's
Yeah.
so much stuff.
Yeah. I've never heard anything from it. I don't know what it would sound like, but I saw
bet.
that and I was like, what?
Mind blown. Mind blown. Well, this has been good. Thanks for
Yeah,
coming
man.
out, man. We're going to bring you back.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to do this again. We are here to really chronicle the experiences of people like Bill Wensel.
What an experiences you have had. Like
It's
300 shows.
It's
Yeah.
just amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 300 shows seen Prince. That's not even including like all the times you're just standing out at Paisley drinking $2 waters.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. Just for dance parties. Hey,
Yep.
hey, Bill, before we close this thing out, why don't you hit him up one more time and again with your photography website? 'Cause,
Yes.
I mean, you got some good stuff out
Thank you.
there. Bill's about to blow up. You want some
Hopefully.
photos of the
Buy 'em now, they're
Minneapolis.
cheap.
What?
Buy 'em now,
I've
they're
got-
Buy them now.
Yep.
Buy them now. Minneapolis and Disney World. So give us
Yeah.
that website real quick.
It's WilliamDrewPhotography.com. The Minneapolis ones, there's several in there that are from the night Prince passed when the city turned purple, and then the anniversaries when it's gone purple. So it's a lot of Prince connection there too.
So check out the website. He just gave it to you.
Yes.
Hit back 15 seconds. You can write it down. Go check it out. We got some really, really good stuff.
We'll post the link.
We'll post a link. Bill, we appreciate you coming on. This is Paisley Nights. We are chronicling the days of wild. I am Mark Bondi with the co-host,
DJ Dudley D.
and we are telling stories of Paisley Park. We're going to keep these things coming. There are countless stories, all kinds of people impacted by Prince opening up the doors of Paisley Park, letting us in and night out, year over year. I mean, the stories, we just getting started, y'all. So keep listening. We appreciate it. Peace and be
Wild.
Yeah.
I knew that line.